Well, almost three-quarters of parents say they require more childcare and more flexibility to their existing childcare since the coronavirus outbreak. The childcare company Bubble carried out that research and also says that 94% of working parents believe it is vital for employers to support them when it comes to childcare. Well, the company's chief executive, Ari Last, joins me now. Ari, good morning. Thanks a lot for talking to us.
Pleasure.
How have childcare needs changed during the pandemic?
Yes, well, first and foremost, I think, as any parent of young kids will tell you, it's been an incredible struggle, which doesn't show much sign of getting any better. I think what our survey showed and what our customers are telling us every day is needs are increasing, but more than that, they're actually changing. They're becoming more flexible because they need to keep in line with how we're all being expected to live our lives and work these days, which is more remote, more flexibly. And if working parents especially, are going to keep up with that, we need childcare solutions and access to childcare that is flexible in that manner as well.
It's interesting because with more people working from home, you'd think they would need less childcare.
You'd think that, but I think anyone with small kids, and my three are waiting to burst in any moment now, will tell you
Please no.
Yeah, it's impossible, right? With all the best will in the world, with the best intentions, and parents really are desperate to get back to work and back up to full productivity. When you've got childcare responsibilities at home at the same time, even with the best behaved kids, it's impossible. It's quite frankly impossible. And the worst situation is parents doing childcare all day and then working all night. And that just leads to burnout and a loss of productivity. And we really urge companies to think about how they can avoid that.
So what is the best scenario here? If you are working from home, you do have children who need to be looked after. What should businesses do in that sort of a situation, or what should they offer?
So the good news is, there is an increasing number of businesses who are looking at how they can solve this for their parents, and they do it in two ways. They do it by helping them with access to the childcare first and foremost. Services like Bubble and others, we offer flexible, on-demand access to childcare in the parent's own home whenever they need it. But most importantly, it's cost. Before the pandemic, the UK had pretty much the highest childcare costs in the Western world, and that's being exacerbated. And businesses, granted, they face many challenges right now, and I'm one of them, and cost cutting is high on the agenda. But actually, the best way out of the crisis is to invest in increasing efficiency, increasing productivity in the people that you have. And when it comes to working parents specifically, nothing is going to increase their productivity more than giving them access and making childcare more affordable. So businesses are working with companies like us, although not enough right now, although more and more, to provide that access and that financial support to their workforce. And when they do, as our survey showed, it really engenders huge loyalty and increased productivity amongst their workforce.
When you're talking about how much it costs, some people just can't go to work, can they? Because it's just not economically viable, because how much childcare costs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's childcare. There's different childcare. There's out of home, there's early years settings, there's private nurseries, which are a fortune, and there's in-home childcare too, which isn't cheap. But I think the way businesses, and we're seeing some need to look at this, is the deficit caused, or the cost of not having a productive workforce and losing out on those hours to the bottom line, first and foremost, far outweighs the cost of giving your parents some childcare support for a few hours during the week. And I think that what's really important is, yes, the mental and physical and well-being toll of the individual is great, and absolutely it is the right thing to do to support your staff. But I think if we're really going to make a breakthrough here, business leaders need to understand the effect, what's in it for them. And fundamentally, it improves your bottom line. It improves your business if your staff are happier and working more productively. So the costs to parents are extremely prohibitive. And that's where there is some government support, but not enough. But that's where businesses themselves need to step in, not for any other reason other than it helps them.
I was reading some of the comments that you've made in the past, and it's interesting. You said that if you help with someone's childcare, it can also help foster gender diversity and gender equality, and diversity within your workforce. How does that work?
Yeah, I think there's been a number of studies, most notably by the Institute of Fiscal Studies, since the pandemic started. And there is a huge risk that COVID is going to set back any progress made when it comes to gender equality and diversity and inclusion in the workplace, because mothers are bearing the brunt of the childcare burden of COVID. And what the Institute of Fiscal Studies report shows is mothers are the ones who naturally have always taken on more of a childcare burden, right? And what that's resulting in is more of them are losing their jobs, they're resigning, they're much more likely to reduce their hours when this childcare strain becomes too great. And if businesses and the government are really serious about ensuring that the progress made isn't set back, I think the IFS say, some 15 years by COVID, we need to think really carefully about how we support working mothers, especially when it comes to childcare access and costs. Otherwise, what's going to happen shouldn't surprise anyone. It's quite simple. They will stop working, and that's going to be a terrible result, one of the many terrible results of the pandemic.
OK. Ari, thank you so much. Ari Lastes from Bubble. I love that name. Thanks, Ari.
Thanks.
Time for a look at the weather now. Here's Naz.